Are you one of those people that struggles to practice speaking in English? Maybe you're not very good at it, maybe you don't have the right materials, or maybe you're on your own. Well, luckily for you, I'm going to help you solve all of those problems today. Let's get cracking. Hey up mate, and cheers for finding this video today. I appreciate that. If you're new around here, my name is Dan and I'm a British English communications coach, and my job is to help you build your confidence so you can communicate in English and do more cool stuff in your life. Now today's video is all about speaking practice. It's something that a lot of people struggle with, so I've got the 3 easiest and most useful ways to practice speaking in English, even if you're on your own, so let's jump in. The first speaking practice exercise I want to tell you about today is shadowing. Now, shadowing, some people call it echoing, some people call it listen and repeat, whatever you want to call it, it's basically the same thing. And the benefits of shadowing are well known, but these are what I think are the best benefits when it comes to the shadowing technique. Number 1, it improves your pronunciation and intonation. Good stuff. Number 2, it builds fluency and reduces hesitation. Also a good thing. Enhances your listening skills because you've got to listen before you can repeat, so you're getting some listening practice as well. And it'll help you practice things like chunking, connected speech, linking, and all that kind of good stuff. So you get a lot of different kinds of practice from one particular activity, right? Now, if you're not sure what shadowing is, all you got to do is select a short audio clip featuring a native speaker, ideally. And now if you're working on a specific accent, you can find somebody with that accent, or, find a native speaker, video, podcast, whatever it is, yeah? So you're going to find a short audio clip. We're looking for maybe 1 minute, something like that. Then you're going to listen to the clip all the way through, just to understand it. Make sure you know what they're talking about. Make sure you understand what the deal is. Maybe there's some words in there you don't know that you need to look up, but we're just trying to understand it the first time, yeah? And then after that, we're going to go back to the beginning and we're going to listen to it sentence by sentence. At the end of the sentence, you're going to press pause. And what you're going to do is you're going to repeat what that speaker said. You're going to try and copy the intonation, the word stress, the pacing, the linking, the chunking. You're going to try and copy it as closely as you can, like an echo. You say echo, 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 like that. And it's very, very simple technique. It's very, very easy to do. And it practices a lot of things. So the world is full of materials that you can use. Anything that you're into, you can find something that you can use for shadowing practice. Yeah, and I think this is probably one of the best speaking practices you can do, especially if you're on your own. The next bit of speaking practice I would recommend if you're getting started is reading aloud. Now, the benefits for reading aloud are it's going to improve your pronunciation and articulation, because when you read a word, the spelling is not going to tell you how to pronounce that word. For some reason, English spelling and English pronunciation are not really connected very much. So you're going to end up realizing that you don't know how to pronounce a lot of words, so you're going to look it up and you're going to get better at articulating and making specific sounds. It's also going to strengthen your fluency skills and help you build rhythm. When you're reading out loud, even myself as a native speaker, maybe you've seen the episodes that I do with Stu, his Learn English with the News podcast with Stu Sensei. In that podcast, we often read things out loud, and we're both not very good at it because it's something that we don't do all the time. But it does help you understand where you're supposed to pause and where the natural rhythm should be. So it's going to help you develop those skills as well. It also expands your vocabulary and word recognition because you're going to see words and recognize them. And it's also going to show you a bunch of words that you don't recognize that you have to look up. And that's going to help your vocabulary as well. And it's also going to boost your confidence because it's a practice that you can do without anybody else. You can do it completely on your own, and you're going to help build that confidence that way. And it's going to reduce your anxiety because there's no pressure on you to do anything with it. Just your own pace, your own time, just you and the book. It's a pretty calm way to practice speaking. Now, how to do it is pretty self-explanatory, I would imagine. Find a book. Step 1, a book or an article or a story or a poem or a tweet if you really want. Oh, they're not called tweets anymore, but whatever. Find some words that are written down and read them words out loud with your real voice, not just in your head. Read it with your eyes and say it with your mouth at the same time, yeah? And I want you to focus on clarity, making sure that you are clearly speaking. You're not mumbling. You're not saying between every word. You're clear and you are expressing the words correctly, yeah? And then, as we mentioned earlier, is record yourself on your smartphone so then you can listen back to it and see how it flows. Does it sound robotic? And make sure that you're doing a good job. So that's reading aloud. Once again, very, very useful bit of speaking practice. And the third technique I've got for you today is an audio diary. Now, this sounds more complex than it actually is, but basically an audio diary is going to give you a lot of benefits. It's going to build your fluency because you're going to be repeating the same kind of thing over and over again, so you're going to get pretty good at saying them. And you're going to reduce your hesitation when people ask you questions, things like, what did you do last week? You're already going to be prepared for that. It's also going to improve your pronunciation, your clarity, your intonation, all of that good stuff that comes from speaking practice. All going to get better with this kind of practice. It helps you to organize your thoughts and deal with ways of expressing yourself. Now, when you do something for the first time, it's difficult. But then you do it for the 100th time, it gets easier, right? Imagine if you play a musical instrument. The first time you make a C chord on a piano or a guitar or whatever, it might be tricky. But the millionth time, you don't even think about it. It's like driving a car. That's a good example. First time you drive a car, it's proper difficult. 100th time you drive a car, you don't even think about it. So it's like that. And practicing organizing your thoughts and how you're going to express your ideas is something that you'll build during this practice. And like I said earlier, it's really useful for daily life conversations because one thing that people love to do is ask you, so what did you do last weekend? You got anything planned for this weekend? This conversation you'll have about 1 million times, so it's good to practice for that. Now, the audio diary is very easy to do. Record yourself talking naturally for 3 to 5 minutes about your day or something meaningful for you. Take your phone, open your voice recorder. Today is the 7th of January and it's the 6th of January, Monday, the 6th of January. God, already losing track of days. And today I woke up at 6 o'clock and then I had some toast for breakfast and some coffee and blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is you did today. Just practice talking about something like that for 3 to 5 minutes. Don't script what you're going to say. Don't worry too much about it. Just naturally, whatever comes to your mind, say that. And then review that recording. Make sure that you're not hesitating too much. If there's any grammar errors, you can work on them for next time. Make sure that your intonation sounds nice and it's flowing. There's not long pauses. All that stuff that we're trying to make better. Listen back and see how it went. That's a good place to start. Now, I want you to pay attention when you're listening back to repetitive expressions. One thing that we tend to do when we're learning English is we learn one way to say everything. And then we kind of depend on that expression for a long time. And that's not a bad thing. Having one way that you're really comfortable to express yourself is not a bad thing. But if you say the same expression 4 or 5 times in that 3 minutes, maybe it's time to find an alternative way to say that. And it'll help expand your expression database. And it'll give you new ways to actually try and express yourself. And it'll help you use new grammar patterns and new vocabulary that you're learning in an active way because you're now trying it out in a real life situation. So yeah, there are all good things that come from that. Now, once again, as I mentioned earlier, I've broken everything again. Of course I have. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the thing that I can do today to help you with this kind of practice is I've developed that 7-day speaking practice plan. Totally free. It's got those 3 exercises, tells you exactly how to do them, as well as some other ones. It's also got reflection sheets. It's also got material ideas. And it's also got a checklist that you can either print out or there's a Google Drive version, all included for free. And like I said to you earlier, if you want to get hold of that, The link is in the description. I think I can make it appear on the screen. There we go. The link is in the description or the show notes, or you can go to my website, britspeak.co, and get it from there. Now it's over to you. I want you to head down to the comments and tell me, what is your favorite way of practicing speaking in English? I'd love to hear all about it. And if you want to know how you can use TV shows to improve your English, watch this video next. See you there.